I'm currently cycling back at 20 past 10 on Tuesday night through Butte Park in Cardiff on my way home after that 1-0 win in the Football League trophy. Although it's a second order competition and one that I don't have a great deal of love for with B teams and everything else, and I wouldn't normally trouble myself with going to. Newport County playing a game that is a bike ride away from my house is a rare thing. So, I wasn't going to miss the opportunity. And more to the point, in the context of our season, I felt it was a big game this evening. 1,500 or so travelling Newport fans under the lights, local derby, and a chance, perhaps, to regain a little bit of initiative ahead of those 3 crunch games against Accrington, Cheltenham, Harrogate. And so it came to pass. We can talk about the ins and outs of the game in a moment, and I've got thoughts on how some of the players did. But we talk a lot on the pod about football is about the moments of joy. And we had some moments of joy tonight. One in particular, that goal from Tom Davis, the most unlikely, perhaps, of players to get it. But yeah, that was great to see, holding on at the end as well. The celebrations at the full-time whistle were fantastic to see. So after what has felt like a few months where we haven't had many moments of joy, we had a few tonight, and I think that's really important. As I come up to the Blackway Bridge to go across the River Tap, I really felt we needed that. Many fans like me who only go to home games for the most part, it's been 6 months since the last win that we would have seen. If you weren't at Crawley, you've got to go a long way back. I think for me, the last win that I saw in proper competition was against Harrogate back in March, and that's a long time to go. And to get a win tonight with that big vocal away support, and it was vocal. Yeah, it was a really nice moment. And whatever else this season holds, that was something. That really was something. And yeah, the goal was well taken. I thought there were lots of things to like tonight. Within the first 10-15 minutes, a few of us had said, yeah, Cameron Antwi looked up for the game tonight. A man who perhaps does not always look up for games. And he kind of bossed the midfield. Really went for every challenge. I suppose he had a bit to prove against his old club. Same for Tom Davis. But yeah, I thought he made a really, really good impression. The other player who stood out for me tonight was young Joe Thomas. A man who went from being first choice right back to perhaps being fourth choice. And I thought he put in a hell of a shift against the Cardiff City left winger, who we've been warned about. And he had him in his pocket. And yeah, the Joe Thomas redemption arc, I'm all for. Something clearly had happened with him over the summer. He went from being a very astute, promising player to being, like I say, fourth choice. But I thought he did excellently tonight. Not all the performances were great. Jordan Wright's kicking, I think there were 3 or 4 set-piece goal kicks that ended up going out for throw-ins. That was frustrating. CBR, when he came on, flattered to deceive, as always. But there was a lot to like. And listen, I know that we're looking at it on paper and going, well, maybe it was a 1-0 win away at Cardiff, but they were resting lots of players. I don't care if it was against Narnia under 10 girls. A win is a win is a win. And I thought you could see the players being lifted by it tonight. And I thought it was really telling as well at the end. The players came over and applauded the away fans. And you could see there was a bit of togetherness, but also they were clearly behind the manager, and we don't know what goes on off the pitch, but I thought it was interesting. CBR had his arm around Dave Hughes. The players, I think, clearly do want this to work out. They do rate the manager. They are behind him and his coaching team, and I thought that was a welcome sign. So, yeah, in the context of the season, a win in the Football League trophy is kind of neither here nor there. But I do think the timing of it is actually really important for us. And it does mean that we go into those 3 games, rather than all the fans being on the back of the players and on the back of the coach and on the back of the board, we've got a little bit of pride restored, a little bit of joy. And it was a real pleasure to be at a Newport County game. And we haven't said that a great deal this season. Yeah, smashing atmosphere, a good win that we deserved, and we can talk all day about the quality of the opposition, but cliche alert, you can only beat what is put in front of you. So very pleased to see that. I hope it puts us in good stead for the 3 big games that we've got coming up. And yeah, onwards.